On today's DCU Daily, Grace Randolph is being Grace Randolph all over again and spills the tea over Matt Reeves' personal life and claims that's the reason development has been very slow on the Batman 2. And Brandon Skelnar keeps on talking about wanting to play the DCU Batman. I will read a portion from an interview where he discusses that very topic. And how exciting! Some eagle-eyed photographer took a picture of the on-location shoot of Supergirl and Millie Alcock's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. We'll discuss that as well. And if you wait till the last 5 minutes of the video, I will finally throw my hat into the ring and tell you if James Gunn's Superman film is going to be a box office flop or a box office hit. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. On TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat, BMouth60 Mick, your host with the most. A very warm welcome to Friday's edition of the DCU Daily. I cannot believe it's Friday again, everyone. I've been here with you on this long DCU road. I've been here since 2018 with the DCEU. Who of you have been following me for long enough to remember one of my early reviews from the very first Aquaman movie? That's the only time I've ever gone viral, I think. And that was on an even worse camera system and microphone than I have today. So it's not your equipment, it's what you talk about. And I was very pure and enthusiastic about the Aquaman film. And I think it's not just toxicity and negativity that, people find interesting. It's when people talk honestly and directly about the subject at hand. So hang on to the last 5 minutes of this video and I'll talk about if I think James Gunn's Superman is going to be a success or a failure. But first of all, Grace Randolph is at it again. Yes, Grace is claiming the reason that the development of the Batman 2 has taken such a long time isn't anything going on behind the scenes. It's to do with Matt Reeves' personal life. I've been very much aware of Matt Reeves' personal problems, let's say. But I'm not an a-hole and I'm not going to start talking about someone's personal life. He's not a model. He's not a celebrity. He's a writer-director. His private life is his private life. So Randolph is claiming this is the reason that the problems from the Batman 2 are arising and why the development is taking such a long time. I say BS. She seems to be trying to make excuses for WB. She may seem to dislike James Gunn, but sometimes she can be a bit of a WB shill. And yeah, I don't believe this for a minute. Zack Snyder tragically lost his daughter, and he and Deb were willing to go into work every day despite of that harrowing tragedy. So I'm sure if Zack Snyder can do that, that Matt Reeves could carry on continuing his job within, with all of his problems and all of that. We've all got problems. I've got problems. We've all got problems. I don't talk about my problems. I deal with them, and I do my videos with a smile on my face because it helps me. It helps me mentally deal with the challenges of my life when I'm acting, writing, directing. It helps me deal with my anxiety, with my mental health issues and things like that. We've all got our windmills to help us through our lives at the end of the day. So Matt Reeves' problems are absolutely nothing to do with the slowness in development of the Batman 2. There is a power struggle going on between Matt Reeves and DC Studios, James Gunn, Peter Safran and David Zaslav, right? Now Zaslav made it clear back in 2023, I think, that there would only be one Batman. The problem is James Gunn already inherited a pre-existing Batman, nothing to do with him. They don't want two Batmen. What DC Studios and WB Discovery want. They want Matt Reeves' Batman to be part of the DCU. We already know that Matt Reeves is resistant to this, but he has said publicly if he's willing to do it, if it makes sense. He said it would have to make sense. So it's not like he's totally unwilling to do it. But that's the reason that development has been so slow on the Batman 2. Now, Matt is a notorious slow writer, and I say if the man can cook as much as he did with the first The Batman movie, let him cook. Let him take 5 years. I don't care. But there's obviously nefarious goings on behind the scenes, and obviously these nefarious goings on will leak out eventually, and we'll know the truth. Basically, Grace Randolph is the unreliable narrator, and you really can't trust a word she says. Someone having a go at Boba Talks for not talking about Matt Reeves' problems. Boba Talks made the right choice. Grace Randolph didn't. End of story. Now, an eagle-eyed photographer took some videos and a picture of the on-location shoot of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow starring Millie Alcock. Now, the picture is of Millie in her Supergirl costume. Now, it looks like a skirt, but I'm not sure. I thought they were going to go all PC and give her like leggings, but it looks like it's a skirt. It looks great, but the view is very fast, so you can't really see closely. It looks like she's standing on a tank with Jason Momoa's Lobo. I'm actually very, very excited about this movie. Fingers crossed, right? I'll discuss if I think Superman's going to succeed or fail shortly, but I think it is important for Superman to succeed for this movie. I mean, you can't trust Zaslav. He could shelve this movie if Superman flops. And I'm excited for this movie. I like the people in the movie. I like the people making the movie. And I think it could be... I've been waiting for a great Supergirl movie all my life. I love Helen Slater's movie. I love Helen Slater as Supergirl. But it didn't work out. And that movie flopped. Because back in the day, there wasn't a hunger for, female-driven, female-led projects. That's a shame. We live in a different environment now. And that's a good thing. Now, Brandon Skelnar continues to try and get himself the DCU Batman gig. And this is what he's had to say. Bale is also Skelnar's favourite take on Bruce Wayne, Batman, and he's among the many reasons why Skelnar hopes to take on the mantle for James Gunn's DCU, which is unconnected to Matt Reeves' The Batman epic crime saga led by Robert Pattinson. Skelnar is currently the top choice among the aforementioned fancasters, and he already has plenty of ideas on how to differentiate his version of the character from the many other on-screen Caped Crusaders. I have my own ideas on the character if that ever comes to fruition. He was my favourite comic book character as a child, and he's superior because he's real. He's a real man, Skelnar says. I think there's a lot more to explore there, and there's a way to do it that makes it very real. So if it ever comes around, I would gladly take that torch, and I would not take it lightly. So Brandon is very, very passionate about playing this role. Now, yesterday I read from one of these DC accounts that he claims that he was contacted to play the character. That is not the case. He said they are aware of his existence. So maybe he's one of the people, one of the hats in the ring, but no one's contacted him. I've never seen this guy in anything in my life. I've seen pictures of him. He does look like Bruce Wayne. He's got the chin. I think he could be a good Batman, but I've never seen him act, and that's also important in deciding whether someone's going to be a good Batman or not. Now, let's discuss the elephant in the room. Will James Gunn's Superman be a hit or a miss? Let's get into it. Minecraft has shown how erratic and unpredictable the US box office and the global box office has become. No one saw, Minecraft making 330 million globally in its opening weekend. And apparently it's only going to have like a 50% drop off, which, by the way, is quite good. So I think it could still make $1 billion, but it's going to make money, right? Unpredictable, surprising. So it's become it's been very difficult to kind of predict box office numbers. Now, a few months ago, I was talking about 500 million, maybe Superman equaling the box office of Man of Steel, which is 670 million. Now, when Superman is released on July the 11th of this year, the Man of Steel box office could end up being a lot better than WB thought it was at the time, or actually it could look like weak box office if James Gunn's Superman does even better than that. The thing is, we've got a problem as content creators right now. We have two different sides in the DC fandom arguing, and they expect content creators to pick a side. I'm not willing to be Team Snyder or Team Gunn. All I can do is constructively give you my views of the DCU and the DCEU situations. I'm not taking sides. I absolutely adore what Zack Snyder did in the DCEU. I would absolutely love more. I would absolutely love him to restore the Snyderverse in DC Elseworlds or whatever. But I've also enjoyed the Guardians trilogy, the Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker. I've said this so many times. But me putting my hat in the ring and finally getting off the fence, because my buttocks are very painful sitting on the fence, I've tried to be as fair as possible. So I'm not taking a side here. All I can do is be honest with you and direct with you and tell you how I feel and what I think, right? I've seen a lot of problematic things and good things in equal measure since James Gunn and Peter Safran opened up the DC Studios universe, since the DCU was announced. I didn't think it was a good idea to announce a slate before Superman was released. Now they're going back on some of the titles, like The Authority. Not a good idea. It looks unprofessional. It looks like they never had a plan. It looks like they don't know what they're doing, right? But then there's some interesting projects being announced at the same time. So it's a strange situation. Also, lots of red flags with this Superman film, lots of positive things with this Superman film. The casting has been brilliant. He hasn't cast film stars. He's cast really, really good actors, which of course is very promising. But without having any big names, is that a problem, considering in Man of Steel we had Amy Adams, we had Russell Crowe, we had Michael Shannon, we had Kevin Costner. So very, very different. We'll have to wait and see what happens in terms of having no big movie stars. But I do believe, I'm finally going to tell you, right? If I believe Superman will be a box office hit or a box office flop, I believe Superman will succeed at the domestic box office and the global box office. What I can't tell you is how much it will succeed by. Again, this is not me turning against the Snyderverse or the Snyderverse fandom. It's just me looking at a situation and trying to decide what's going to happen. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know. My feeling is that people in the general audience are going to enjoy this film. Minecraft is proof that the family demographic and kids are the key of the general audience. And if you unlock that, the money is going to hemorrhage in. And I think that's the key. And this film won't be light and fun totally. It'll have a mixture of tones in it. It'll be serious, it'll be funny at the same time. And I do think that families will be attracted to it. Look, Superman is a difficult beast to tame. We'll know that it's been difficult. Man of Steel 670, Superman Returns basically flopped with not even 400 million at the global box office. It's been difficult. Superman succeeded, as I've said many times, more on television than it has on the big screen. It's an interesting situation. Now, the original teaser had a record amount of views. Now, they haven't discussed or said anything about the views of the preview, which is very, very interesting. But don't forget that preview was also released in cinemas ahead of the Minecraft movie as well. So all those kids and families were watching that preview. That can only be a good thing. There's a mixture of reactions about that preview on the internet and on YouTube, but I'm ignoring all of that. And I believe this film will be a hit. I'm a Superman fan. I love DC. If this film deserves to be successful, it should be successful. It will be successful. But at the end of the day, James Gunn is hiding this movie. And I believe on Superman Day, when we see that full trailer, which should be around 3 minutes, I think we're going to see quite a lot. And finally, we're going to know what this movie is going to be. And I think we're all going to be very, very surprised. Well, mostly you, because there's a lot I know about this film. You're all going to be surprised when it's revealed what this film actually is. And I think that's going to be a good thing. Look, The Snyderverse stands are always going to be negative about James Gunn and this movie. That's at the end of the day, that's life. There's nothing we can do about that. But at the end of the day, I have to decide whether I think this film is going to be a success or a failure. And what I've seen thus far, look, the costume is a problem, right? But we don't know the context of the costume. And the flying is a problem, but we don't know the context of that flying either. So I'm giving the film and James Gunn the benefit of the doubt, but I do believe it's going to be a huge hit.